Hey.
Okay, well, kind of keep toward the middle because the video's in the middle. Keep toward the middle as much as you can.
I'll be middle.
Yeah, slide over a little more. Yeah. Good? Five.
We need to scoot in more, I think.
Yeah, slide over a little. Whoa, careful, table.
Hello.
Sit like this,
Yes.
you know. It's
Yes.
a special occasion. Special occasion.
We are on video, so yes.
Yes.
So,
So no inappropriate touching.
well, you know. Wait a second. Yeah. As long as, I didn't see it.
So I'm,
We're okay.
revising.
Okay, we welcome Golden Wisp and Well Met. Little Hearthstone action here.
Thank you so much, guys. So it's a pleasure to have everybody here. For those of you who don't know, the five of us together are the hosts of two Hearthstone podcasts. JR, John, and myself host Well Met over on the Blizz Pro Network.
And then me and Hunter host Golden Wisp.
So what we're going to do for you tonight is we're going to talk a little bit about what's going down with Hearthstone as a game. We're going to talk about the shows themselves, and then we're going to go through kind of what we've seen in Hearthstone over the last year and what kind of cool stuff is coming up for Hearthstone in the future. So, John, can you tell us a little bit more about what Well Met is as a Hearthstone podcast?
Yes, I can. Whoa. Ha. I'm there. Good. So Well Met is part of the Blizz Pro Podcast Network, owned by Mr. J.R. Cook himself. So we've been doing Well Met for a while. We really kind of want to be a little bit more on the competitive side, but we bring you every part of Hearthstone, from the competitive side and the news to just general strategy and getting better at the game. And really that was what we decided when we started, is how do we help players get better at the game and get them the information they need to know in the game and out to enjoy it, because we all love Hearthstone. We spend way too much time playing it. I spent 2.5 hours standing in line at the gear store playing Hearthstone. So that's kind of it. So that's Well Met in a nutshell. So yeah.
Yeah, and Golden Wisp, we focus solely on competitive play, tournaments, esports, the meta. We do deck lists, things like that. That's sort of what me and Hunter have been focusing since day one, and we will be a year old the week after BlizzCon. So we're almost on 1 year. That's pretty cool.
That is awesome, guys. That's super cool on both sides. Thank you so much. And all 10 of you who are really paying attention, we really appreciate it. All right, so before we move on, we're just going to talk a little bit about ourselves. So we're just going to start at the end here. So we'll go Hunter all the way down. Just tell us a little bit about yourself, what got you into these games, and why you're here.
Cool. So I'm Hunter Graham, obviously part of Golden Wisp. Alec and I met in college at the University of Virginia. I started playing WoW back when I was a freshman in college, and that took me to Hearthstone somehow, and now it's my love and my life.
Yeah, I'm Alec. I play Hearthstone very, very seriously, and just love competitive games and got into Hearthstone that way.
I'm Kevin, and I got started on the Blizzard franchises back when I was about 8. A copy of Warcraft 2 showed up in a box that was labeled, "You have to share this with your sister." That didn't happen. And I ended up then moving on and playing all of the Blizzard titles to a point that, as of earlier this year, covering Blizzard's games and esports as a journalist has become my full-time job.
By the way, Hunter and Alec is the most adorable couple here at BlizzCon. I just need to say that. They're adorable. But yeah, I'm John. I've been into Blizzard games now for a long time. I was a World Top 25 Shadow Priest, and then recently, about 8 months ago, started getting into Hearthstone, and we started Well Met, and it's been awesome, and been going from there.
Yeah, I'm J.R. Cook. I'm co-founder of BlizzPro.com. I've been doing fan sites for 16 years now. We started BlizzPro about 3 years ago. I had a competitive Magic the Gathering background. Played that for, I don't even remember how long, probably longer than these guys have been alive. And then Hearthstone is just a really good gateway into that. So
It's nice and slow. You don't need any kind of reaction time.
Thanks, Kevin.
All right, so we're going to not spend all of your time just jabbing at each other. We're actually going to talk about Hearthstone. So I'm going to turn it over to John, and he's going to tell us how the last year has gone in Hearthstone and kind of toss it around for everybody to give their thoughts on that.
Yes, we will. So we have had an insane year of Hearthstone. I mean, Hearthstone is probably on everyone's phones here. We've seen awesome things, and so we've seen a couple major expansions. We've seen Goblins versus Gnomes. Now we've got the Grand Tournament in there, and now this weekend we have the BlizzCon World Championships, where the top 8 players are going to be competing. And before we get into those, let's just talk about the state of the game in general. Where are you seeing Hearthstone at? And, kind of give us your overall thoughts on that. We'll just start down with Hunter again.
So Hearthstone's in a really weird place at the moment. We just saw the nerf of one of the strongest decks ever in the history of the game, which is Grim Patron. Probably those of you who don't even play Hearthstone very much know about Grim Patron and the amazing memes that is generated. So since then, Hearthstone's been kind of trying to find its center, and lots of people want Blizzard to step up and do some more stuff with that. Help the game out a little bit as far as an esport and as far as a casual game goes. So it's kind of in an interesting spot. The competitive mode is really fun right now, though. So the tournament scene is awesome.
I mean, that Tavern Brawl this week was insane. That was probably the coolest Tavern Brawl they've
Absolutely
ever made. A co-op Tavern Brawl. If you guys haven't checked it out, probably a few more days left. And I'm just excited about this week. Hearthstone goes in cycles about hype, and we're about to get an announcement tomorrow, probably at 3 p.m. at the panel. So, I'm really excited for a new adventure to come on our way.
Yeah, I mean, the last year has been probably the best Hearthstone that we've seen to date. It's been really exciting in terms of the content. We've seen the team do a really great job of making the features in the game progressively more interesting. We're expecting them to continue to do that, whether that's a new tournament mode or improvements to spectating. And the content itself has just been a lot of fun. The adventure modes give players who want a single-player experience something to enjoy. And you're right, the Hearthstone World Championships coming up here right away are going to be probably the best competitive Hearthstone that's ever been played.
I echo everything that Kevin just said, and we've seen some new adorable podcasts come about, so that's been really great too.
Yeah, I just want to say, though, that we not only did we have Goblins versus Gnomes in the Grand Tournament, but we also had Black Rock Mountain, which was a great adventure mode. We've seen Spectator mode come in, which helps out the competitive scene, being able to watch your friends play the game. We've also seen the increase of ranked rewards, which I think has been really healthy on ladder, with being able to now, if you are if you get up to rank 4 or 5, you get rewards based on the highest rank instead of where you ended at that season. So I think we don't talk enough about what the Hearthstone team has really done in the last year. They've done a lot of great things with the competitive scene and also the casual scene with Tavern Brawls and things like that.
Cool, thanks guys. So that's for those of you who play and some who don't, a kind of a good snapshot of why we've been so excited about how things have gone over the course of the last year. So John, take it away. Tell us about the World Championships in Hearthstone, the second ever World Championships in Hearthstone. What are we looking forward to this weekend?
Yeah, we've got an incredible... I don't think we could be more excited about the different players that we've gotten coming in. We've got great players from all the different regions, and a big part of the podcast, as far as us being up here, is we're all kind of known for a little bit more of the competitive side of things. So it would feel like a shame to not be able to talk a little bit about the competitive scene and, of course, the World Championships tomorrow. We're going to skip the fluff, though. We just need to jump right in because we've got to do some predictions here. So, Golden Wisp guys down here. Top 8, starting tomorrow. We're going to see them go head-to-head, best of 5s. Who are you picking as your most likely to win the World Championships?
So I'll let Alec give our collective pick in a second here because he picked it 2 months out. So congratulations to him for being awesome. I'm going to give a couple dark horses that I think are people that not everybody knows about. There is a Japanese player named Kano who absolutely destroyed over the last couple weeks. He's running some faster decks and a mid-range paladin, which didn't do very well other than Kano himself. Also, Ostkaka, the Swedish cheesecake master, looking really good. He actually has the same deck list as the person Alex is about to talk to you about. So those are my 2 dark horses. I think those 2 will perform really well. But
Yeah, I've been on Tice's train the entire way throughout the whole World Championships, and he brought a really interesting lineup with his Dragon Priest, Freeze Mage, and he's actually running Patron. So Patron's back in the meta, performing very well. So Tice for me.
Yeah, I think you guys have pretty much hit the nail on the head. I think there were some really interesting upsets, and I think it's very notable that Asia Pacific pulled through so well at the expense almost exclusively of NA. We only ended up with 1 North American player in the top 8 playoffs coming through this weekend from Canada.
who squeezed through barely.
Just barely. So, I mean, it is a very interesting time. The game is very diverse, and we're seeing different play from different regions. Rogue coming through from North America, Shaman coming in a big way out of the Asia Pacific. I think Tice is the correct pick. I think Tice, looking at the lineups, Conquest format doesn't allow these players to change decks once they've started in this World Championship. So whatever they were playing last week during opening week, they have to play again starting tomorrow. And looking at the bracket, we can tell Tice is in a really favorable spot. Ostkaka is in a very favorable spot. If those 2 both advance, I think that semifinal will be the most significant matchup in the entirety of the World Championships. But I think Tice advances and takes the whole thing.
I think one of the big things with Tice is the decks that he brought, right? He brought a Dragon Priest, a Patron Warrior, and a Freeze Mage, all which do really well against the type of decks. And he just happens to probably be top 3 in the world in all those decks. So it seems really silly to not pick Tice. But if there's one player who is really exciting to me who we haven't mentioned yet, it's Pin Ping Ho, bringing some Shaman action to the tournament. And he's been really exciting to watch. In the end, my personal favorite is Tice. I think it's a little bit silly to not think that he has a huge advantage going in, but at the same time, if there's a dark horse, it's got to be Pin Ping Ho.
Yeah, I think at the top of the bracket you see both Tice, Kranich, Ostakaka, and I don't remember who else is on Ping Ping Ho. So those 4 are all going to play against each other in the first few matches. I think if you see Tice I think Tice has a good chance of going all the way. If he beats through that, I think he'll defeat whoever is in the finals. I think the one who has the biggest chance against him is Ostakaka.
Very cool, guys. Thank you so much. So we're running really light on time. So before we wrap it up, obviously, if you enjoyed what you saw here today, Golden Wisp, you can find these guys online, Well Met Podcast. You can look us up on iTunes, Twitter, all your favorite social media. Before we take off for the night and turn it over to the next panel, does anybody have any questions for the 2 coolest Hearthstone podcasts, NA?
It's a no.
Looks like no.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much, everybody.